Hey there, it's Susan Pierce Thompson, and welcome to the weekly vlog. So I have a new love in my life, a new thing I'm super stoked about. And I was reflecting today that there are several lessons that I've gleaned from my experience of picking up this new habit. It's swimming. That relate directly to the Bright Line Eating journey. So I want to share with you in this vlog 3 lessons from swimming. First of all, I have never been a swimmer. That's not fair. I've always been a strong swimmer in terms of I could always pass the deep end test as a kid. And I've had a couple of occasions to have the blessing of being out in the open ocean, swimming with dolphins. And I can swim, I can hold my own for half an hour to an hour in the ocean, swimming around without a life jacket on, and chasing dolphins around, pods of dolphins. Amazing. Thank you, Sage Levine, on the big island of Hawaii. Super fun. But I have never swum laps. I was never on a swim team. And really, as an adult, I have swum very seldom. I just rarely am in the water. I bring my kids to the pool. I usually don't want to get in. I usually want to lay on the side in the sun by the water's edge and never even get in once. So I'm kind of a party pooper when it comes to swimming, typically. And I started swimming laps in the most reluctant, backhanded sort of way. And that's actually the first lesson that I want to share. So I have always been a jogger for my cardiovascular exercise, but mostly I have not done any cardiovascular exercise in my life. On average, through my long lifespan, mostly I have been a non-exerciser. And this has been, I don't want to say the bane of my existence, but it's been a challenge. It's been something that I've striven to overcome and got up. It's just like dieting, man. It's I've gotten up great momentum and effort to start a new exercise regimen. I've stuck with it for a while, and then before I know it, I'm back on the couch, not exercising anymore ever. And I really have a hard time connecting the dots between, all that motivation and effort at the beginning and why did it unravel? What happened to that attempt? It really does feel just like the food for me. And I cannot explain why for some people they feel an internal innate, their body needs to move. I have friends like this. They can't wait to get back to the gym. They ache to go on a walk, to get outside, to move their body. I'm not one of those people. I can perfectly happily sit indoors, sit around for weeks and months and never really have the thought once of I need to move my body. It is shifting a little bit as I age, but historically speaking, that has been my constitution. I ran a marathon when I was in grad school. I enjoyed it. I trained with some other graduate student friends, and immediately after the race, I was back to not running and sitting on the couch. So anyway, jogging has always been my go-to cardiovascular exercise. When I'm exercising, typically I'm jogging. But I'm about to turn 50 and my knees won't tolerate it anymore. And so I've had to find something else. So you'd think, oh, enter swimming. No, not so fast. You're giving me way too much credit. No. So my knees started to give out. So we have a treadmill, and I started to do incline hiking on the treadmill, which is great. It's good exercise, right? And I was liking it because I was listening to podcasts, which felt sort of super productive because I have all these podcasts backlogged that I want to listen to. People send me podcasts all the time. I never have time to listen to them. So this was good. I was hiking uphill on the treadmill. I was able to get my heart rate up really good. And then that started bothering my knees. So I tried biking, and that bothered my knees. And all the while in the back of my head, I was thinking, I should try swimming. But the barrier to entry is really high, right? The goggles give me raccoon eyes on my face, and, the water's cold, and I got to drive to the Y. And, anyway, really when all the other options were stripped away, I finally went to a pool and I tried swimming. And the minute I got into the water and swam a few laps, I thought, I love this. this feels amazing. I didn't know if my shoulders would tolerate it, but they seem to, kind of. I'll get to that in a second. And I just thought, I love this. So here's the first lesson I want to share. Sometimes when it feels like things are happening to us, my knees are inflamed from jogging. Now my knees won't even tolerate hiking. Now my knees won't even tolerate biking. I'm getting so old. I'm too young for this. What's going on? All of that feels like it was in service of getting me into a pool finally. And I wouldn't have any other way. So there's this wonderful saying that I love. Think about how this is not happening to you, but happening for you. And there's a beautiful story I want to relate. It comes from the Baha'i writings. And it's about a lover, a man who's in love with a woman, and he's aching for her. He misses her. He's looked everywhere for her. He can't find her. He cannot find her. And he's in love and he's soul sick with his love for her. And he goes out into the marketplace trying to get over himself, get over his thoughts and get distracted. And all he can think about is her. It's not working. And suddenly there's a watchman there who seems to start pursuing him and chasing him. So he turns the other way and there's another watchman there. And now they're both chasing him. And now he turns around and he starts to run in the opposite direction. And now both watchmen are sprinting after him and he doesn't know what's going on, but it does not feel safe. And all of a sudden in front of him is a massive stone wall. And he starts to scale it and he gets cut up and his fingers get bloody and he scales this wall and the watchmen are at his heels trying to chase after him. He tumbles over the top of the wall down into a garden and there's his beloved looking for a ring that she lost in the grass. And he drops to his knees and he calls out to God and he says, God, I was cursing the watchmen, but thank God for the watchmen. Give them health and long life. I am so grateful for those watchmen. They turned out to be the angel Gabriel leading me to my beloved. And so that's sort of how I felt I felt like I was being cornered and persecuted by this pain that I was developing in my knees and I couldn't do anything for exercise. And then I got into the pool and I was like, oh, thank God for all that pain. I never would have found swimming if it wasn't for that. Okay, so that's the first lesson. You never know where your blessings come in life. I swear, sometimes they come in the most unexpected ways. So thank God for the watchman. Okay, so lesson number 2 is I got into the pool. I didn't know if my shoulders would tolerate it. And so what I did was the first day I got into the pool, I swam laps for 8 minutes and I got out of the pool and it felt good. But it felt kind of at the top end of what my shoulders could tolerate, perhaps. And so I decided my days that I could swim, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And so on the next swim day, I got into the pool and I swam another 8 minutes. And then the next time, 8 minutes. All week, I swam 8 minutes. And then the next week, I upped it to 9 minutes. And the next week, 10 minutes. And the next week, 11 minutes. Not kidding. I just upped it by 1 minute a week and I did 3 swims at that new time. 1 minute a week it went up. And I did that for months. And I got my way up to 12 minutes or 13 minutes and then 14 minutes, increasing by just 1 minute a week. And then my body took over and it wanted more. So I started increasing by 2 minutes, 5 minutes. And suddenly I was up at 20 minutes. And then 23 minutes, and then 25 minutes, and then 30 minutes. So it took a long time to get up to 14 minutes, and then I sort of jumped up a little faster. And the lesson there is I never would have been someone who could have done that before. Get into the pool and swim for 8 minutes? Seriously? And then again, 8 minutes, and then again, 8 minutes. I'm like the 0 to 60 girl. I'm the person who's swinging wildly from one extreme to the next, passing the point of moderation going, whoa, there it was. Moder what? Like, just not in my vocabulary. And suddenly, through weighing and measuring my food consistently for years, I've become someone who can weigh and measure my life, who can weigh and measure swimming, weigh and measure exercise. Just easy does it. Weigh and measure. I really don't even think 5 years ago I could have had that kind of patience and consistency. But I did. And I worked my way up to 30 minutes each time. So I've been doing 30 minutes of swim now for, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. So that was the second lesson. It's amazing how steady you can get from weighing and measuring your food and how that can bleed out into other areas of your life. Okay, so here's the third lesson, and this is the one that made me want to shoot this vlog. This happened to me just this week in the pool, just like 2 days ago in the pool. And it was torture, and it was just like the food torture. So yeah, this thing happened in the pool, and you know, my food has been so steady now. I'm 2 years, perfect, squeaky, immaculate, just so bright on all 4 bright lines. And I'm coming up on 5 years with the first 3 lines. No sugar, no flour, 3 meals a day. I was being wonky with my quantities in restaurants, but you know, I'm coming up on 5 years now. No sugar, no flour, eating only 3 meals a day. And the last 2 years, the peace I've had is just unbelievable. And so what I find is someone who vlogs every week for you, I don't always relate anymore on that deep, visceral, painful level the way I used to, because I used to break my bright lines and come shoot a vlog. Like I was struggling with my bright lines on and off from 2015 to 2019, on and off. And my vlogs were often so informed by the insights that I would get going back to the food and then getting bright again. It was like a gold mine of really understanding the person who still struggles with food. I'm not struggling with food anymore. And honestly, it's hard to remember sometimes. The peace is so absolute. But I got into the pool, this thing happened, it was torture, and it reminded me of the food torture. And so here's the story. 2 days ago, I was in the pool, and I was aware as I was swimming that the last few swims, 30 minutes had not felt like enough. Like really, my body had been aching for more, like just wanted to keep going at the end of the 30 minutes. So while I was swimming, I started playing with the idea of swimming for longer. What if I swam 35 minutes? What if I swam 40 minutes? What if I swam 45 minutes? And I'd get to the end of a lap, I'd look up at the clock, and I'd try to do the math in my head. Well, if I did 35 minutes, I would end at this time. If I did 40 minutes, I would end at this time. I would go and swim some more. I would reconsider. I would think about the rest of my day. Do I have the time? I would think about how my shoulders were feeling. Is it wise? I would think maybe I should just swim 30 minutes. I would swim a few more laps. I would look at the clock. I would recalculate the time. And it was an obsession. It started to mess with me so bad. Will I? Won't I? 35 minutes? Is that enough? 40 minutes? Is that too much? 40, why? If I'm going to do 40, why don't I just do 45? Boy, what would it feel like to be a person who swims 45 minutes 3 times a week? That would be amazing. I would love to be that person. But what if that's not good for my shoulders? On and on and on and on and on. And finally, when 30 minutes came, I just got out of the pool because I was so tortured by my will I, won't I, should I, shouldn't I? Is that enough? Is that too much? Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Could I keep going? Should I keep going? How much longer should I keep going? I got out of the pool just to make my head shut up already. I was so over it. And I went over to the hot tub and I sat there for a bit and I just thought that was awful. Like that, it was my first bad swim. I had nothing but bliss in the pool. Every single time I got in the pool, it just felt like meditation. It felt like, just such ease and grace and enjoyment. And this swim was not comfortable in my head because of that will I, won't I. And it just reminded me of the food, that the will I, won't I, should I, shouldn't I, how much, how little, is that too much? If I, have less of this, could I have more of that? Maybe I should not eat today because I've got to, party tonight and I'm going to indulge. And, and if I overindulge then, should I exercise tomorrow to try to burn it off? And I'm going away for the weekend, which means, oh my God. So I committed to my husband the next time I got in the pool, I would just swim 35 minutes. No more, no less, not second guess it. And interestingly, I found it was hard not to second guess it. Like I was in the pool and I didn't even yet have utter peace with just the decision of 30 minutes. And, the lesson here is the mercy of writing down our food the night before and then just training ourselves. It takes more than one day, training ourselves day in and day out to eat only and exactly that, is it just silences that will I, won't I, should I, shouldn't I, is it too much, is it too little? If I have this, could I have that? It just silences it. And the mental peace that we get here in Bright Line Eating is the number one gift of being bright. It is not worth it to be in your bright body, to have lost your weight, and to be messing around enough that the will I, won't I, should I, shouldn't I is back. And so really, I think anything in my life that creates a storm in my mind of will I, won't I, should I, shouldn't I, has got to go. It's just got to go. And commitments, bright lines, lines in the sand, getting out of the pool, whatever it takes to just walk away from that will I, won't I, should I, shouldn't I. Like, no, I don't play that game anymore in my head. Like, it is not comfortable. Oh, mercy. We call it food chatter. And there's scale chatter too. The food chatter and the scale chatter. Thank you, Betty Rabinowitz, for the scale chatter term. It's so true. It's so true. And 3 lessons from swimming. And I am now someone who is swimming 3 times a week consistently. And I just got to say, I don't know how I became this person. I literally feel motivated to get my swims in, even on days when there's a lot going on. And by all rights, I could skip it, just looking at my schedule and say, well, obviously today's not a day I can swim, but no, I figured out. I get up earlier, I get in, whatever it takes to get in that swim. And I don't know how that happened to me. I never used to be someone who could do that with exercise. So I guess that's the final bonus lesson here is, I started putting my food on the scale 21 years ago. And I think because, I've got 16-year-old twins now, so a lot of that time has been in child rearing. Bright Line Eating is 10 years old this summer, so a lot of that time has been figuring out how to do this whole Bright Line Eating movement thing. My life has been so packed, I think, that I've been a little slow to receive some of the blessings that I think come to many people much faster when they do Bright Line Eating. I think a lot of people get the gift of being consistent and showing up in all areas of their life sooner maybe than I did. But it's interesting to me that it's taken 21 years of putting my food on the scale to be someone who can exercise consistently. So I am so loving swimming, so loving it. And that's the weekly vlog. I'll see you next week.